Well, let me say this. It is game over, yes. Game over. SCS Software has just revealed how the new Coaches DLC is going to work. And I have to say, this is looking absolutely incredible. The Coaches DLC isn't simply adding buses to Euro Truck Simulator 2. SCS is building an entirely new gameplay experience around them. And if you're a fan of bus simulation, you need to pay attention to this, because SCS isn't just giving us coaches, they're giving us jobs. Passengers, routes, contracts, multiple stops, passenger satisfaction, and an entire system built around operating a coach company. That's a completely different level. We've had bus simulation games for years. Games like Fern Bus Simulator, The Bus, Bus Simulator, Bus Bound. They've all tried to create realistic passenger transport experiences. And now, Euro Truck Simulator 2 is entering that space. But here's the crazy part. SCS already has something those games don't. A massive world, an enormous road network, hundreds of cities, thousands of kilometers of roads, and years of map development behind it. So instead of building a completely new world from scratch, SCS is taking the world of ETS2 and turning it into a coach simulation experience. And that could be a massive advantage. Let's talk about the jobs, because this is where things get really interesting. There will be different types of coach jobs. You've got tourist jobs, you've got quick jobs, and then you've got contract jobs. And contract jobs are probably the feature I'm most excited about, because these aren't just simple trips from one city to another. You can take long-distance contracts with multiple stops along the way. Think about a real coach journey. You don't simply leave one city, drive hundreds of kilometers, and arrive at the final destination. You stop along the way, you pick up passengers, you drop passengers off, you visit different locations, and eventually, you reach the final destination. That's what the Coaches DLC is bringing to ETS2. Imagine taking a coach from Amsterdam, heading through Germany, stopping at several cities, then continuing toward Austria, and eventually reaching your final destination. That's a proper journey, and it fits ETS2 perfectly because the map is already designed for long-distance travel. Now, instead of carrying cargo, you're carrying passengers. And that changes everything, because passengers aren't just another cargo type, they react to how you operate. And this is where the new passenger satisfaction system comes in. Your passengers are going to have an opinion. They can be satisfied, or they can be unhappy, and that can affect your reward. That's a huge change with traditional trucking. The cargo doesn't care if you drive smoothly. It doesn't care if you brake hard. It doesn't complain if you take a wrong turn. Passengers are different. They're sitting behind you, they're experiencing the journey, and now their satisfaction can influence how much you earn. That creates another layer of gameplay. You have to think about how you're driving, how you're managing the journey, how you're handling the route, and how you're treating the passengers. Suddenly, it's not just about getting from A to B, it's about providing a good service, and that's exactly what a coach simulator should be. Now, let's talk about the coaches themselves, because SCS is starting with some incredible machines. We've got the Volvo 9700, we've got the Scania Touring, and we've got the MAN Lions coach. These are proper long-distance European coaches. And if you've seen the work SCS has done on trucks, you already know what to expect. The interiors, the dashboards, the exterior models, the sounds, the details. Everything is going to be designed to fit into the ETS2 world. And knowing SCS, I don't think that's going to be the end of the list. More coaches can come later, just like trucks. Just like map expansions, the coaches system can grow. And that is where things become really interesting, because SCS isn't building a separate bus simulator, they're adding coaches to an existing ecosystem. Think about what that means. You already have the ETS2 economy, you already have the garages, you already have the massive European road network, you already have the cities, you already have the traffic, you already have the weather. You already have the day and night cycle, and now you can add passenger transportation on top of all of that. That's clever, very clever. And then we get to the map. This is probably one of the biggest advantages ETS2 has, the map. SCS has been rebuilding Europe for years, and some of the recent reworks have been incredible. Look at the Benelux rework. Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, the roads, the cities, the scenery, the infrastructure. It looks completely different from some of the older parts of the map. Then you've got Switzerland. The mountain roads, the tunnels, the elevation changes, the scenery. And then Germany, one of the most important countries in ETS2. And SCS has been steadily rebuilding it. Then there's Austria, alpine roads, mountain passes, beautiful valleys, and these reworks are extremely important for coaches because coach travel is all about the journey. Passengers aren't interested in your trailer. They're looking out the windows, they're seeing the scenery, they're traveling through Europe, and ETS2 has some incredible scenery to offer. Imagine taking the Man Lions coach through the Alps, driving through Switzerland, heading into Austria, going through mountain tunnels, and coming down into the valleys. That could be incredible. Or take a Scania touring through the Netherlands, then into Germany, then across Europe, or take a Volvo coach through Scandinavia. The possibilities are huge, and there's another major piece of the puzzle, the UK rework. SCS is also working on rebuilding the United Kingdom, and when that eventually arrives, it will give coach players another massive area to explore. London, Manchester, Liverpool, Scotland, Wales, Northern England, and all the roads connecting them. That could make coach travel in ETS2 even more interesting. And this is what I mean when I say SCS is playing a different game. They're not starting with an empty map. They're taking more than a decade of work, adding an entirely new form of gameplay on top. That's incredibly difficult to compete with. A new bus simulator can build beautiful buses, it can create realistic passengers, it can build good routes. But SCS already has Europe, and Europe is massive. You can drive for hours, cross several countries, and still be on the same journey. Now, those journeys can become coach trips. That's powerful. And the passenger satisfaction system makes it even better. Because now, your driving matters. You aren't just delivering something, you're responsible for the people sitting behind you. Maybe you're too aggressive with the brakes. Maybe you're speeding. Maybe you're constantly making mistakes. Your passengers notice, and their satisfaction can affect your reward. So the goal becomes drive safely, stay on schedule, keep the passengers happy, and complete the contract successfully. That's a proper gameplay loop. And then, there are the multiple stops. This could completely change long-distance journeys. Imagine taking a contract from Paris to Berlin, but you're stopping in several cities along the way. Passengers get on, passengers get off. You continue the journey, then another stop, another group of passengers, another part of the route, and eventually you arrive at the final destination. That's not just driving a bus, that's operating a coach service. And I think that's the difference. SCS isn't simply adding buses to ETS2, they're creating a coach career inside the game. And that's why I think this DLC has so much potential now. I wouldn't say other bus simulators are suddenly finished. They all have their strengths, but SCS has a huge advantage: the existing world, the existing technology, the existing community, and the scale of ETS2. That's extremely difficult to match. And the Coach's DLC is coming into a game that already has millions of players. Truck players, map mod players, realism players, exploration players, and now coach players. That's a massive audience, and I can't wait to see how the community uses it, especially the modding community, because imagine what happens when coach gameplay is combined with the massive ETS2 mod ecosystem. New routes, new coach liveries, new companies, new maps, new destinations, new experiences. The possibilities are huge, but even before mods. The official content already looks impressive. Volvo, Scania, MAN, long-distance contracts, multiple stops, tourist jobs, quick jobs, passenger satisfaction, and the massive European map. And after more than a decade of ETS2, that's exactly the kind of new gameplay I want. Something that changes what we do, without destroying what already makes the game great. SCS has taken the foundation of ETS2 and built something new on top of it. And if the final version delivers everything we're seeing, the Coaches DLC could become one of the biggest additions ETS2 has ever received. So, are you excited for Coaches? Which one are you choosing first? The Volvo 9700, Scania Touring, or the Man Lions coach? And would you rather do short tourist routes or those huge contract journeys with multiple stops? Let me know in the comments, because I can't wait to get behind the wheel. And finally, drive passengers across Europe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.